stop salivating, your heartbeat goes up, because your body's getting primed, getting ready to either run or fight. That's why it's called fight or flight. This is meant to be a temporary situation. Only when there's danger, we need to be ready for it. The problem with modern living is that we're constantly in a state of fight or flight. So the stresses, fear, the issues cause us to be constantly in this condition. And if you stay in this condition too long, there will be an effect on your bodily organs. There'll be an effect on your energy level. There'll be all negative, of course. There'll be an effect on your sleep, ability to burn fat. Everything gets affected because your body is so caught up in this condition. Now today I want to add another one to fight or flight. Fight or flight is, when you look it up online, that's the more common phrase for this. However, there is another aspect that I want to show you today. Not as common, but it does happen to people. So, for example, there's fight. You're in a situation where you're in danger. Your body does all those things to get you ready to, fight. You get irritable, ready to engage in arguments. The old self loves it. Hoarding items because you're like, oh my God, we're gonna lose out. We're not gonna have enough. The fear factor. Where there's fear, the fight comes in. People begin to get really competitive when they're shopping. You've seen people shop online. They push each other. They grab things. The sympathetic nervous system is very active. They're just going for things, grabbing things, because they're fighting. It may not be just fighting, but they're fighting. Over here, people that are in the fight mode, imagine and plan for scenarios where the person might have to fight or survive. You think the worst. You plan for the worst. Okay, this is happening. There's a pandemic. Oh my God, what we're going to do? I've heard people say, I'm going to go to Florida. I'm going to go to the mountains. I'm going to go hide out in the hills because we're going to die. They're in total. And they make the biggest mistakes of their life. They just do. Because when you're in fight or flight, temporarily it's good. When it gets long term, you make the worst decision. Because, you'll see, look, you can't live this way forever. You can't. All the time, your body will break down. So when you're faced with a problem, you may want to fight. You may need to fight for your defense. We also have the flight, which is the running away. But I want to add today that it also includes hiding out, reluctance or refusal to engage in activities medical professionals have determined safe in the general public, going for walks. Some people during the pandemic wouldn't even go outside. I'm not going out. I can get the virus. I'm going to breathe in the virus. They're in flight mode. They're trying to hide. That's not good. You need air. You need sun. It's not good to be locked in your house. I was in my house for 4 months. I got to have a balcony. Go outside and get some air. Those that have no balcony, they're like locked behind doors. Solitary confinement. That's flight mode. You have people who reluctance or refusal to return to activities. People are already telling me, I'll never stop using a mask. Never. Even when we get the green light, that everything's fine, we can take it off, you're going to see some people still wearing them. They're scared. Oh, not me. I don't believe they're going to keep it on. Don't be one of them, right? When we get the green light, I'll be the first one to go, we're free, and throw the thing onto the air or something. But don't be afraid to take it off when the time is right. They get obsessive. It's fear. Yeah, all the fear is terrible. There are some people who haven't come back to church because of fear. Oh, no, I can't. I don't dare. Oh, my God. They're in flight mode. Thank God for all of you who are not in flight mode. You guys came, you overcame your fears. Over here, passive communication styles or people-pleasing in order to avoid conflict or confrontation. How many people do that? All the time. Your mother calls, and you're like, okay, all right. Whatever you want, Ma, whatever you want, Dad, whatever you want, sis, brother, whoever. You just give in. That isn't being spiritual. You're running away from confrontation. Sometimes you have to do what Jesus did. Go into the temple and clean it out. Sometimes you have to tell your family, tell your friends, enough. I love you, but enough. Stop. People in flight mode don't do that. They think they have to suffer. Always. Oh, I have to put up with it. But that's my mom. But that's my father. And so what? They're making you go through pressure. Don't let your family pressure you. Don't let your friends pressure you. Keep yourself clean. You may have to cut some people off. You might have to. I'm not saying you should, but if you feel yourself constantly running away, constantly feeling bad about giving in. I don't know what to do. I have to give up. Oh my God. You're going to live a miserable life. You got to stand up for yourself and say, look, I love you, but let's have a mature relationship. Stop making me so afraid. Stop dumping on me. Some people dump on people. They call you and give you all their bad news. And you're there like, oh my God, who's dead? Who's dying? What's going on? Oh my God. It makes you want to run away. And that's what happens when you are in flight mode. Yes, Edith. There's what? Volume Studio on what? On Facebook? That's Facebook here. Okay, Papa, can you raise the volume for me if you possibly can? Have them raise their volume too on their phone, on their computer, if they're... Okay, this is Facebook here, and that's YouTube up there. YouTube. Albert, I need some more volume if possible on YouTube, please. Thanks, Edith, I appreciate it. All right, so we understand fight or flight. But there's a third possible reaction to when your sympathetic nervous system kicks in. You either want to fight, you either want to run, or some people actually do something else. Freeze. Some people freeze. Yeah, I've seen those who freeze. They're rare. Most people fight or fly, fight or run. But there are some people that freeze. What do I mean by freeze? I mean this. These are people that instead of dealing with whatever they're facing, they retreat into substance abuse. They get high to avoid. See? So they freeze. They just stay put. Those who are increased time spent on social media, people hide on Facebook. They hide on their phones. Rather than confront life or deal with issues, they get buried in their media. Of course. Yeah, it all happens online. It all happens. And this is all the sympathetic nervous system. Look over here. Excessive time spent watching TV. Excessive time. People spend hours. And all they do is watch TV, yeah. When you're not enjoying the show, movie anymore, and they're still watching. Let me watch TV just to watch. That's called freeze mode. You're going through something, gone through issues, maybe you're whatever. You come home, you veg out. That's your sympathetic nervous system kicking into play because you're so overwhelmed that instead of running or fighting, you just zombie. Yes. It could become, if it's consistent, if you stay in freeze mode too long, yeah, it'll become clinical depression. Then it gets even worse. Whole different thing. But you're right. Over here, just watching just to fill time. Gambling, disordered eating. People sometimes eat without even knowing what they're doing. They go to movie theaters, they have a soda. They don't even know what they're doing. They're watching a movie, giving their body poison. Because they're in freeze. Quick, funny but true anecdote. Say it. But I think I told the story. Ever since I knew him before he was married, he always said, I don't want to get married. I do get married. He wants to get married. I don't want to have kids. He was anti-child. Kids. That was like his bottom line for years and years and years. So when he got together with Nellie, he had a son. Said, what's going on? He goes, that's okay. I'll raise the boy because he's nice. I don't want any kids of my own. He was like adamant. No children. So a year and change into their marriage, I get a call from Nellie. She's all upset. Pastor, I don't know what to do. I'm pregnant. I go, oh, not congratulations. Josh is going to go crazy. He doesn't want kids. I go, how well? Both should have thought of that before, You did what's necessary to create a child, No, but how could it be? We don't understand. I don't know how to tell him. Oh, my God. Just tell him. He's going to be a father. Oh, no. Forget it. I'll do it. It happened here. I called him. I said, Josh, you got some time? Come over. Meet me at the sanctuary. He came over. He sat right where Sister Janice is sitting. And I did a David. I did a David and Nathan. You know how David and Nathan, remember that story in the Bible? When Nathan said there's a guy who neighbor who killed his lamb and whatever, and it was just a story, basically. I did it to Josh. I go, there's a friend of mine who doesn't want kids, but his wife's pregnant. He goes, oh, man, poor guy. Yeah, poor guy. And I was telling him, but, it's a nice thing because this slide. Yeah, but, I feel bad for him because, well, don't feel bad. Josh, feel bad. I kid you not, and I have his permission to say it because it's something. He froze. I've never seen that in my life, ever, since that day. He sat there and we're like, zombie. And Josh, you okay? I'm like, Josh, you all right? Not a word. He went into full freeze mode. Full. I waited about a half hour. He just sat there. Okay, let's go. Took him by the hand. He's like, almost like Frankenstein. Took him to my car. Let's go for a drive. He's staring straight ahead. Not a word. Not a word. Total freeze mode. Took about an hour. He finally goes, how could that happen? I go, I think you know how. But that was the most classic example of freeze mode I've ever seen in my life. Oh, by the way, when Victor was born, he fell in love with the kid. So he loves his son. As you can tell the way they are. So all that stuff was for nothing. He's one of the best fathers I've ever seen. Great man. All righty, but that's what happens to some people. They freeze. My father used to freeze. Whenever there was a panic mode, he would freeze. When it came to do with me or mom, he would just sit there and go into zombie state. I'm the opposite. I see an emergency, I jump into fight or flight immediately. You ever have a heart attack, God forbid? You're in the right hands. I'll pick you up with my own hands and carry you to the hospital if I have to. Because I get into that immediate mode. My dad wasn't that way. Oh, anybody here, what's your preferred? Do you usually fight, fly, or freeze? Do we have any fighters here? I think most of us, right? Do you have any flyers here? It's kind of embarrassing to admit sometimes. You're like avoiding. Any freezers here? Keep it to yourself. Don't worry about it. But just know it's a natural reaction depending on who you are. Yes. 13 kids. I'm already frozen. With the same husband, 13 kids. Oh my God. I could imagine. 13 kids. So his sympathetic nervous system was channeled, triggered by his wife's pregnancies. He was good, but you have to spread yourself for 13 kids. That's a lot of work. God bless the kids. But here we have it. And let me just review again with you here. So we have the sympathetic nervous system. We know now you'll either fight, fly, or freeze when you have a stress coming your way. And if you stay in any one of those modes too long, your body will suffer. Your health will suffer. These are temporary states as needed. Many of us live in fight mode all the time. Many people live in flight mode, always running away. And some are walking zombies. I've seen them. So we have fight, flight, or freeze. Make sure you add the freeze in there to what could happen. Those are great momentarily, but not for long term, short term. So, proceeding, remember this? When there's stress, your adrenal glands, we shared this last week. There's a part of the inside and part on the outside. They produce certain hormones in response to stress that will lead you to fight, flight, or freeze. So the adrenal glands, they sit on top of the kidneys, as we showed you last week. We have something here. When you go through stress, the adrenal cortex, which is the outside of your adrenal gland, produces many different hormones, but the most popular, the most abundant one is cortisol. Anybody ever heard of cortisol before? Okay. There's even cortisone cream. It's similar, but not the same thing. Cortisol is essential and helpful for the body when used temporarily. Okay? Temporarily. When you're under stress, you need cortisol to help you deal with the stresses. Fine. Most people have cortisol happening all the time because of the stresses. So when there's high levels of cortisol, your body's constantly producing it because your mind is always saying, there's danger, or I'm scared. Oh my God, the stresses. oh, my boss, oh, my job, oh, my family, oh, my health, oh, whatever. Since your body recognizes that as being stress, your adrenals are pumping cortisol, pump, 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 pump. And if it never stops pumping, or if it pumps too much, look what could happen. When you have high levels, insomnia happens, number one. Because your body can't sleep. How can it? Cortisol is pumping you to fight or to run away or something. You can't sleep properly. Even if you fall asleep, it's not restful sleep. It's fitful sleep. It's people who snore, people who, when they're sleeping, they throw their hands out and hit people. Ah, ah, ah. It's probably because their cortisol levels are sky high. Their body can't rest, right? Also, obsessive thinking. If you know someone, or if you have a hard time letting go of thoughts, like you go to bed and you're thinking, problem solving, this, that. Oh my God. Trust me, your cortisol levels are off the scale. Because cortisol makes you think. It provokes thinking. And if it's constant obsessive, it's going to be terrible. You're going to be in bed, but just lying there. You're not going to get any rest because your brain is going 100 miles an hour. Memory loss. After a while, your brain gets tired. You begin to forget things. It isn't necessarily dementia or Alzheimer's. You're just running your body ragged. It can't take it. And yet every day, more stress. Every day, another phone call. Every day, somebody else. And you're letting it happen, and your poor brain is like, okay, I'm getting tired here. I'm forgetting things now. It begins to get worn away. Eventually, it could become dementia and Alzheimer's. It could. Constantly hitting it. Stress is deadly if it's a long-term thing. How about the high heart rate we already mentioned? High blood pressure, of course. Inflammation of the arteries, as we said before, they inflame because of the constant pressure on the heart. Now, this one, potassium and vitamin B1. I'm going to begin to introduce the concept of vitamins to you all and minerals to you all. Potassium and vitamin B1, in fact, all the B vitamins, but especially B1, those are the anti-stress vitamins. When you have potassium in your food, vitamin B, especially 1, in your food, it helps you calm down. Okay? That's food that calms you down. This. But when your cortisol is going a million miles an hour because you're full of stresses and worries and pains and sorrows and phone calls and issues, cortisol is constantly being pumped, and you lose your potassium, you lose vitamin B1. So what calms you down is loss. And all you have left is constant pressure. People, everybody's different, but sooner or later, your body's going to break down. Sooner or later, whether in a month, a year, or 10, 20, 30 years, sooner or later, your body just collapses. There comes the cancers. Cancers do not come from a virus, not a germ. Your body's defenses are worn away by all the stresses, whether it be drinking, smoking, worrying, fighting, whatever. After a while, because you lose these two vital vitamins, your body's forevermore in super stress. How about loss of collagen? What's collagen? What's elastin? Anybody know what collagen is? It keeps your bones united, right? You know? Yeah, it keeps you flexible, right? When you lose collagen and elastin, that's where arthritis starts. Because now your joints are stiff. You're not flexible anymore. Your skin begins to sag, or you begin to get the long eyes, because your collagen is going down. And it all starts with the cortisol being pumped and pumped and pumped because you're under stress. See, once you reach these levels, you can stop the process, but you're going to have the remaining effects on your face. You're going to have the dark, underneath the eyes, the dark marks you have. You're going to have all these different worry wart lines on your face. You're going to have all kinds of effects that they're going to stay with you forever. It's best to prevent, better than to heal. You can get a facelift if you want, but it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. And if you go back to this, you're going to mess it up anyway. You got to fix your insides. You got to stop the cortisol production, and that happens when you don't let stress get to you on a long-term basis. Here, excess sugar in the body. Would you believe it, that if you ate no sugar at all, you could still gain weight? It is one of the most incredible things, because when you're under stress, your body goes to your liver where glycogen is stored. Glycogen is a fancy word for sugar. Your body stores sugar in your liver for use in an emergency. In case you ever have to run, it pulls from the gas tank of the liver. All that sugar comes out and you use it. But when you have this going on, it produces so much sugar, it doesn't go anywhere. Your body begins to store that sugar out of the liver into fat. It becomes fat. So if you worry, you can get fat. If you're under stress, you can get fat. Not just from overeating, that too. But just because your body's going crazy. Stress, yeah. Stress does it. Stress is horrible. And you have the power to be stressed or to say no to stress. If anything comes out of this course, I want you to know that you have the power. I'm going to show you how to calm down because there is a way to calm down. But here, you lose your bones, osteopenia. You lose the calcium in your bones when you're under constant stress. The body pulls calcium out. You begin to feel the effects of bone loss. Some people actually shrink. They get shorter with time because their bone density is coming down. All of that from stress. How about this? It hinders digestion. Bloating and ulcers come from this. When your body's over pumped, you can't digest your food properly, and you begin to have holes in your stomach, ulcers. You begin to have digestion problems. You begin to have gas. And you always blame the food, right? Maybe it is the food, but it's also you. Your body can't handle it. And you start getting all these gas issues and acid reflux issues as well, where you get this burning sensation coming up your esophagus. Oh my God, I can't take it. Your body's gone through terrible times. So don't blame the devil. It's not his fault. Believe it or not, it's us. And now we're going to be able to stop that. Your immune system gets deactivated. Let's wrap up here. Too much cortisol will deactivate your immune system. Understand, of all the things I told you, this is the absolute worst. Because when you're under stress, cortisol is produced, your immune system gets turned off. Click. Especially your killer T cells get annihilated. What are killer T cells? We all have in our immune system. Too much cortisol will destroy them, and those are the cells that kill viruses. You lose your T cells, you have no defense against cancer. None. It'll come out of nowhere. There are some people that never smoked in their life and they get. It isn't just smokers that get lung cancer. Your body, the cancer will appear anywhere, whether it be women, breast cancer, whether it be whatever cancer. Have a worry, tossing and going to bed at 1. Then you don't eat right at the same time. And you don't get the vitamins and you don't get the things you need to calm down. Don't be surprised when you hear the diagnosis of, God forbid, some horrible disease. It didn't come out of nowhere. It's not God punishing you. It's not some trial from the Lord. You did it to yourself. I did it to myself. Whatever the case may be. But by God's grace, we're going to turn this around. Amen? We're going to turn this around. And you guys can share this with your family and friends and anybody that you come across and help them turn it around too. And those who have little kids in their lives, you can help these kids avoid all this stuff. When I was a kid, I was always under a lot of stress because my mother and father, I love them to death. They were great parents. But they always expected me to have always 100. Always had to be 100 on my test. It was 99. ¿Y qué pasó con los 100? You know, that kind of thing. So I was under so much expectation, so much constant have to do the right. One time, the teacher gave a surprise quiz. Remember those surprise quizzes they used to give? What are they called again? Pop quiz. And my father had given me this ring, which I hate rings. Do not get me a ring, please. I don't wear jewelry. That's not. The best I have is this little rubber thing with the Shema on it, which is a gift. But I don't wear jewelry. You don't see me with chain. That's just me. But Dad insisted that I wear this ring. So I was a kid. I wore this ring. And when the pop quiz came, I was like, I didn't read my notes last night. I was in a state of panic. And I actually began to go like, the ring was over here. I began to go, oh, mío. I was under such stress, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to fail. Oh my God, oh my God. And I did it so much, I developed a scar on my knuckle. And I had to hide the scar from my parents because they were going to see what happened there. I did it to myself. You know, by the way, I failed that pop quiz, and I almost died of fear and horror on that particular day. Because, again, as a child, I learned to be stressed. Maybe you did too. Right? My dad would come in sometimes angry, and that would be a hurricane blowing to the house. Ah! And I remember feeling afraid, feeling the fear in the pit of my stomach, feeling my hands go cold. That was happening. And I was like 6, 7. And as time went on, in fact, it's a fact that many, many years later, when I was already 40 plus years old, Dad was at home. He's elderly. I'm taking care of him now. I'm a grown man. I'm a pastor. I'm everything. And Dad one time yelled at Mom. And for a brief second, I felt like I was a child again. I felt the same exact way. I felt the fear. I felt the cold hands. I said, wait, stop. What do you mean? I'm a man now. I'm not going to be afraid. I stopped myself. But the habit was to go back into this. Maybe you have the habit. Yeah, flashbacks, exactly. Or PTSD in some cases, to a certain degree. All right, now those who go to war, they got a reason for it. They got bombs blowing up in their face. But there's PTSD that happens with our own family situations. The thing is, it all leads to stress, and stress leads to that. Now, I gave you this last week. I hope you had a chance to look it over. We gave this to everybody. When you constantly put that pressure on your adrenal glands, you get adrenal fatigue. And look at all the things that can happen to you when your poor adrenals are constantly pumping cortisol. Not to mention there's other things they pump. They pump adrenaline too. So when you're constantly in a state of fear, constantly nervous, constantly worried, constantly upset, your adrenal glands, there they are. See, I pointed out to you last time, that's where they are. On top of you, there's your kidneys, they're your adrenal glands, and you're constantly letting things get to you. Constantly. Every day, there's some new drama. Eventually, your poor adrenals begin to get tired. They get fatigued. They'll keep on pumping, but they're tired. They're like, and all this begins to happen. You get tired. Your energy crashes. There's depression, like Dawn mentioned a few minutes ago. There it is. You get anxiety, poor sleep, lightheadedness. Some people get dizzy out of nowhere. It's your adrenals. Those poor things are pumping 24/7. They're tired. And sometimes you feel like, oh my God, I'm dizzy. That's one of the reasons that could be happening. Over here, we have hair loss. We have, over here mentions the frequent, lengthy infections. You get sick and you never get better. You drink antibiotics and this is not working. Your adrenals are probably wasted because of years of abuse. Over here, reliance on caffeine. Let me take my glasses off. I don't want anybody. I'm not looking at anybody. But how many of you cannot get the day started without your cup of coffee? You have adrenal fatigue. It's one thing to want it because you like it. It's another thing to, I can't begin my day without it. Oh yeah? Then your adrenals are in serious trouble. And that's, believe it or not, that's your first sign that you may get cancer. Because if your adrenals are so tired that you need that boost of caffeine to even have the day, then your energy levels are crashing. Your resistance is coming down, and you are a candidate for cancer or other diseases, as you see over here. You can get joint pain. You can get brain fog. There's the darkness around the eyes. Weight gain. You can crave carbs. How many of you have to have your sandwiches, have to have your pizza, have to eat your bread? That's a sign your adrenals are wasting. You don't need that stuff. Newsflash. The body needs 0 carbs to live. There is no recommended daily amount of carbohydrates. They're not. We have learned to enjoy carbs from our culture and from our family. You don't need it to live. You can live without bread, especially the way they make bread these days. You could definitely live without bread. But there you go, craving them. You pass by McDonald's, I have to go in there. I need my Big Mac. Your adrenals are wasted. Or whatever. Whatever stuff they offer in those places. How about craving salt? Some people actually pick an egg and they throw tons of salt on the egg. Oh, I need my salt. Your adrenals are being fatigued. You're in trouble. Notice over here, you can support your adrenals by these things over here. Lower your stress. That's the whole theme of the course, isn't it? Lower your stress. Eliminate sugar and processed foods. This is what you can do to help yourself. Over here, get quality sleep. Be in bed by 11 o'clock every night, no later. Work with your body. 11 o'clock is the time our bodies want to be in bed. Maybe you broke the habit of the body because you had to study at night or whatever. Get back into it. We have something called circadian rhythms. We're going to be sharing that in one of our classes coming up. Your circadian rhythms, your bodily rhythms, by 11 o'clock, that's your first wave of sleep. If you press through and don't sleep at that time, you have to wait till the next wave, which could be 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. You've lost quality sleep. You may still sleep. You may even get up late the next day, but it is not the same. It is not good sleep. It is just sleep, not quality. You're not rebuilding your brain. You're not resting your organs. You're just unconscious. That's all. 11 o'clock. Do it yourselves. Teach your kids, teach your grandkids to do the same. Cut excess coffee. Try going a day without it. If you feel you can't live without it, break it. Break it. Otherwise, you're putting yourself in trouble. And of course, you need vitamin C, adaptogenic herbs. We'll talk about that later on. And the vitamin Bs. The B vitamins are the best things in the world. I'm going to show you now in a minute how you can get B vitamins into you. Here goes. This is the on switch. Do we all understand now what this does and how we activate it? Stress. Now we understand that. On switch. You know the problem we have in our bodies that have been affected by sin? There is no off switch. This can happen without you even wanting it to happen. It's an automatic thing. But once it's on, it won't turn off unless you help it. So even if you go to sleep, believe it or not, sleep may not be enough to turn this off. You may have crazy dreams, and you think it's God talking to you. Your body has gone crazy, and it just doesn't rest. There's no rest for you. You're unconscious, but your organs are still hyped. Your adrenals are still pumping. Your heart's still racing. Your body's not resting at all. There's no off switch. But God in His wisdom has provided for us a manual off switch. Now, this is up to you. This happens on its own. Turning it off is our decision or not. Something called the parasympathetic nervous system. This is the opposite of the sympathetic. We just discussed sympathetic for you. Parasympathetic nervous system, this is the off switch, which you turn off. You don't turn it off, it stays, then you stay in fight or flight or freeze mode. For days, weeks, months, or even years. You're forever tense, forever, forever, forever. You can learn to master this. I'm going to show you how to turn this thing off. You want to learn how to turn it off? Anybody interested in learning this? I hope so, because this can save your life. This is called the rest and digest response. If you are in fight, flight, or freeze, once the danger is over, once the stress is over, you can choose now to go into rest and digest. If you don't choose it, then you won't. You will not rest. You'll sleep, but you won't rest. Simple as that. And you'll eat, but you won't digest. Believe that? You can stuff your face, you can fill your stomach, you can be, oh, I feel, and you're not digesting. That food goes in, flows through, and comes right out. Your ability to take the nutrients from whatever you're eating is stopped. You could be eating every day, starving at the same time. Because you're not turning off the sympathetic. You've got to learn to turn off and turn this on. Turn on the parasympathetic. This is what happens when the parasympathetic is activated by you. When you choose to say, enough. Your pupils that were really big because you were in danger, they go back to normal. Your saliva comes back. Your heartbeat slows down. You can breathe again. Your stomach goes back to normal. Now you can eat normally and not have any indigestion. Your gallbladder and intestines, they go back to normal. There goes the problem with going to the bathroom. Your body resolves. Your intestines can relax. No more constipation. When you go to the bathroom, I don't mean to be rude, but you shouldn't be sitting there and pushing. It should be natural. It should be normal. If you're sitting down and you're on. Your system is still on. you're not relaxed. Your organs are not relaxed. Your intestines are all tight. And therefore, you get sicker and sicker. And everything else. Now notice, this part over here, contract bladder, you don't have the urge anymore to go to the bathroom as much. Some people go to bed and they get up at 1, 2, 3 in the morning, 2, 3 times to go to the bathroom. Your body is on. Your body's on. So it needs to get rid of urine. But when you're calm, you won't have to. Bladder goes back to normal. You can spend a straight 8 hours, not even get up once, because you're relaxed. And lastly, stimulate the genitals. Believe it or not, being in flight or fight or freeze can hinder your sexual performance. It does. It causes some men to lose the ability to have an erection. Some women lose the ability to even ovulate. They even lose their periods. Because they're so strict. Even the ovaries is bleeding too much. Stress is horrible. But we have to summarize that goes with it. Well, that's going to be available for free. So let's start wrapping up. How do we activate the parasympathetic nervous system? That's going to be the theme for today. How do we turn it all off? Learn and do, otherwise it'll never happen. I can't emphasize this enough. It will not turn off by itself. If you're in sympathetic mode, if you're in flight, fight, or freeze, you're there until you decide to stop it. Period. Even if you take a pill or drink NyQuil, which I'm not recommending, of course. But if you do take a pill and it puts you to sleep, you're not resting. It just knocked you out. It just made you unconscious. But all your stress is still there. Everywhere in your body, in your organs, in your muscles, in your head, everywhere your stress is there until you get it out by choice. I gave this to you last week. Hopefully you have that chart. These are things you can do to activate what's called the PNS, the parasympathetic nervous system. Can someone tell me, which of these do you do best? I go around and ask you, which of these 14 things do you think you're doing really well? Really well. Not once in a while. Oh, yeah, no. Which of these are you doing on a consistent basis? Because it's the consistency that turns off the stress, not the once in a while. Obviously, in this church, everybody can say prayer, right? When you come here, we pray a lot for many reasons. That's one of the reasons. We're able to give God our burdens and to release. If you don't pray, you won't release your stress. So give it to God. It's the benefit we have. Meditation. Anybody here meditate? We have one person here, okay. We'll learn to do that together. Exercise. Anybody exercise here regularly? It's great. A great way to reduce stress. Rest, again, in bed by 11 o'clock. Anybody here go to bed by 11 o'clock besides me? Because I do. 11 o'clock, I'm gone. Goodbye. The rest of you, I think, I see it's later than 11. Later than 11, you're not resting. Then you have to find a way to somehow find the flip part of it. So when you get home, you have to go to bed immediately and try to get those 8 hours in. Working nights is a devastating effect on the body. It really does. All right? Know your limits. You're not Superman. You're not Superwoman. You can't fix everything. Sometimes your kid calls you, I got a problem. Sometimes you got to say, listen, you got yourself into it? Here's my advice. Pa, pa, pa. Now you do it. We parents like to jump in and try to save our kids. We want to jump in and do it for them. We want to go fight for them. Stop it. They're adults. You gave them good advice. They should have listened to you. If they didn't listen, stop trying to save them. They have to go through things. And they'll learn. If you're constantly saving them, the day you're gone, they're sunk. So know your limits. Know your limits. As a parent, love, of course, protect, but don't go so far. Yeah. Good. Can't do it. You're hurting them. They lean on you too much, and they'll never grow up. So know your limits. Okay? Know them. How about over here? Being better organized. How many can say I'm really well organized? Thank God I have one person who can say it. Most of us have this thing. Where did I put that? Oh my God, you're always disorganized, losing things. No, don't stress yourself out. Organize yourself. Makes for a better life. Wholesome fun. You guys laugh during the week? You guys do things that make you laugh? I hope so. Have some fun in your life, please. You need it. Therapeutic massage. Every time I mention massage, people get all giddy. Hey, giddy. Look, massage is just a way to get rid of stress. Let me tell you this. If you have a stressful moment in your life, whatever, all right, you are going to feel stress in different parts of your body. I guarantee to you that there's one spot in your body where you always get the feeling of stress the most. It's unconscious. This morning's message, subconscious. Some people they tighten their jaw. They're like, and they get problems with their jaw because that's where they get their stresses. Most people get stresses here. Shoulders, here, and in their back. You tense up. You get bad news. Tense. That's pressure on your body. The pressure never leaves. It stays. Even though you think it's gone, the minute you get tense because something happened to you, that pressure stays until you get rid of it. And the only way to get rid of muscular stress is by physical manipulation. You can't get rid of it just by going to bed because your body's still like that. Your body needs you to go in, either you're married, your spouse, a friend, a brother, a parent, anybody, to start, okay, where does it hurt? Guaranteed, if you let the person touch you and explore, there's going to be a part you're going to go, ah! That's where the stress from 15 years ago may still be here because you never let go of it. Still there. Or maybe here, or maybe in both places, or maybe down your back. I can't walk. Oh my God. Well, after all these years of stress, your poor body gives up. You need someone to get in there and work a massage on you. Okay? Now, therapeutic massage is expensive. It goes for $100 a pop. And you get a real masseur or a masseuse who know what they're doing. If you're going to do that, fine. But if you're going to have a spouse or a family member do it, just make sure someone knows what they're doing. They should never massage your spine. Don't massage a bone. Bones do not need massage. Muscles need massage. So if they're going to go in with their fist and start hitting your spinal column, you're in trouble big time, right? It has to be around here on both sides, up here, the neck, underneath here, this part, the occipital part. You can try it out for yourself. You can touch yourself there, and if you squeeze hard, if you feel pain there, it's tension. That could be tension from when you were a kid. That's still there. When you were 8 years old, something happened at home, and it's stuck there right here. And you get migraines, or you get bad headaches of any kind. And it could be all those stresses from all those years. They're just locked in there. You haven't gotten rid of them. In the last class, I'm going to show you something that I use that's going to help you to relieve that yourself. Anyway, the rest of these speak for themselves. Vacations, well, goodbye for now, with all the COVID stuff going on. Not much for that. Positive friendships. How many have friends outside of church? You should have friendships. You should call each other, talk to each other, and so on down the list. The big one here is, of course, forgiveness, but also rejecting dramas. Please tell your family, stop. Beg them to stop or tell them, I'm not going to pick up the phone anymore if you keep up with all this stuff. Call me to see how I'm doing. Don't call me to say, oye, esto pasó. Oye, aquello pasó. And you always and then you like it because you feed into it. Don't tell me you don't like it. You're like, no me diga, but you want to know more. And all those dramas, tension, internal tension, you're hurting yourself. The desire for gossip. What did he do? What did she say? Oh, really? No me diga. Your adrenals are suffering. You're causing yourself to get sick. Gossip is dead. The Bible speaks against gossip. It calls it, what's the word in Hebrew? Lashon hara, the evil tongue. When someone comes to you with bad news or with rumors, oye, yo como que veo, yo como que creo, I think that's happening. What do you think? Oh my God, did you know that? They're hurting you and you're hurting yourself by accepting it. And when you hear and then you keep it to yourself, because most people do that to you. Oye, déjame decirte esto. So don't tell anybody. But I saw Edith the other day. She was going up the block and I think she went to that place. Don't say anything. I won't trust you again. And you're like, okay. And now you're like paralyzed because, and she might have been going to pick up a bottle of milk for all we know. But when the mind runs, like it happened to me once. I was on the bus, and I bothered it. It was a long time ago. I don't do this anymore. I used to drink Malta. Remember Malta?
the Spanish drink. I don't drink that anymore. It's like, yeesh. But I used to have them back in the day. And I had a bottle of Malta in a paper bag. I wanted to keep it cold. And I was in a bus. And I'm drinking my Malta. I'm very happy. And a sister from the church walks in front of the bus. I'm sitting back there. I'm just drinking my Malta. And I saw her from the corner of my eye, but she didn't look at me. Okay. Bless her, Lord. But as I'm drinking, I feel these eyes looking at me. And I look like that. She turns away. She was staring at me. And she was thinking the worst. What does he have in that bag? What is he drinking? Aha! I caught him. I got him in the bus. He probably has a beer in there. And I sensed it. I'm talking about the Holy Spirit giving witness, boy. I felt that like that. This one's thinking I'm drinking. So on purpose, I went to her. I took the bottle out. Malta. And she goes, ay, Dios mío. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, forget. Yeah. Bochinchera is what she was. You got to confront. See, I went into fight mode for a minute there. Excuse me. I'm not drinking beer. Thank you. Another time I was in the bus, another day. And my cousin Evelyn walked in. I haven't seen her in centuries. And when she walks in, there was another sister of the church. Sorry, ladies, happens to be women all the time. And this one I had said hello to. Hi, how are you? Whatever. Walked into the bus. Then my cousin gets on one of the stops. Evelyn, how are you? And I took, and la besé on the cheek, of course. And how are you? And oh my God. And she's going like this to me. I haven't seen you in so long. Oh, Ray, how are you? Y la hermanita está. And as my cousin's hugging me, I look over and I see her going. I said, here we go again. I said, prima. Ay, perdone, bochinchera. That's what it is. Anyway, reject dramas, get good hobbies. I used to do models. Anybody ever did models before? I love doing models. It's beautiful. I used to paint. How about paint by number? Remember paint by number? Back in the day, I used to love painting by numbers. The little bottles of paint, the clown face or whatever it was, and then you paint. Every number 1 is red, every number 2 is orange or whatever. Hours, relaxing, doing puzzles. Oh my God, it's so wonderful. Easy stuff. Your brain relaxes, your body relaxes, man. Get into it. Whatever hobby that's good and healthy. And this one I want to wrap up with today. Deep breathing. Let's go on to that, shall we? Here goes. Breathing. I want to emphasize this as I close today. I know it sounds funny. I'm talking about breath, right? We all breathe. Some of us even breathe wrong because of bad habits and bad experiences. Breathing, it should be in through your nose. And when you have a full breath, if you want to calm down, you hold that breath counting from 1 to 5. If you're under stress, you feel that you've gone through a moment of fight, flight, or freeze, take a deep breath through your nose, and then slowly, don't rush, don't go, you're not doing anything. Slowly. And then hold that breath, count from 1 to 5. Slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And when you've done that, then of course you let the breath go. Release the breath through your mouth. Also counting 1 to 5. So, hold for 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Slow. Do it a couple of times, and you keep on doing that until you feel a sense of calm. Why that happens is because when the sympathetic nervous system is activated, you begin to breathe from your chest. Real breathing is from the belly. When you breathe right, your belly should be coming out as you breathe, not so much your chest. If when you breathe, you're always, that's not good breathing. That's shallow breathing. Your belly needs to be expanding when you breathe properly to turn off the flight or fight or freeze response. So there's one way to do it. Breathe well. I hope you have a nice little stressful event today so you can practice this. May it be a little one, a tiny one, something simple. All right? And then breathe and watch how this works. It's wonderful, actually. It may be short. Also, when you're under stress, you have the power to focus your attention. Did you know that? You have that power. So right now you're upset, you're bothered, you're angry, you're frustrated, or whatever. Besides breathing, you could also focus your attention, for example, on the feeling of your feet touching the ground. As you breathe, think about your feet. Oh, try it now. Your feet. Feel them. They're there. Wow. Because you're not conscious of them. Your conscious mind doesn't even think about these things. But when you purposely decide, My feet, I feel them. Oh, yeah. You begin to feel grounded, calm. You're turning off the sympathetic. You're activating the parasympathetic. You can feel the sensation of your feet rubbing against the insides of your shoes. Something as simple as putting your attention on that will begin to calm your system because you get your mind off of stresses. Your shoes, your feet. Wow. I have these shoes were a gift. They're actually snow boots, but dressed up like wingtips. Not bad little combination, right? You can't really tell unless you go like this and see that they're boots. Right? They are very snug. They're not tight, but they're snug. I feel like I'm ready for a marathon at this point. They're really good. But I'm not conscious of it unless I put my mind in it. Then it feels good. Like, oh, wow, this is cool. Yeah. And all my stresses begin to fade. Something as simple as that, right? Also, you can concentrate on any part of your body where you feel warm. Take a second right now. Is any part of your body warm? Your ears, your neck, your nose, maybe your feet? Stop and think about that while you're breathing. And you're going to feel your whole system begin to churn off of the stresses. You begin to relax. And you have the power to initiate this anytime. On the bus, on the train. When you're driving to a point. Because don't get too relaxed. It might not be good if you're too relaxed when you're driving. You got to be alert. Usually driving is more of a fight or flight type of thing. Because you got to be watching. If you get too relaxed, you can have an accident. You can start going, oh, this is good. Boom, goodbye. So if you're a passenger in a car, you can do this at any time. You could also notice the saliva in your mouth. Something as simple as that. Right. Keep breathing, but focus on something other than your stresses. Focus on your tongue as it lies naturally in place when you're still. You're there. You become I do have a tongue. That's right, I have it there. You become conscious of it. Or you can lightly press your tongue on the roof of your mouth. When you do that, it lets you breathe better. Put your tongue on the roof of your mouth because you're not breathing in through your mouth. Remember, you're breathing in through your nose. So put your tongue on the roof of your mouth and take deep breaths, and you'll notice they work together. It's like, wow, this is cool. Then you breathe out, let the tongue come out. These are ways you can activate your parasympathetic, your calming mechanisms, and feel like this person here. Feel grounded, feel strong, feel calm. Calmate. Even when you get bad news, a legitimate bad news, somebody passed away, somebody's house burned, something terrible happens, instead of going, oh my God, calm. Choose to be calm. You can deal with it, but don't let it hurt you. Please don't. All right, let's finish up with this. Eat a proper diet. This is called a preventive measure because all of us are going to have stress. You can't avoid it. Things are going to happen in life. Life happens. It doesn't have to be disaster, but you're going to have moments. You're going to have your flat tire. You're going to have your job stresses. You're going to have your family. Inevitably, someone's going to call you. Mira! It's almost unavoidable. You can stop it to a great degree, but things do happen. People do get hurt. People do get sick. People do die. Things happen. We need to be ready for that. There's no such thing as a stress-free life complete because life is life. So when stresses come, I told you what to do. But before stresses come, this is what you can do to get ready for them. Ready? This is preventive measure. So when the stresses come, you're ready for it. And you're not caught off guard. You're not, oh my God. You don't faint. You don't go crazy because you have a reserve built up. Nutritionally wise, you want to be ready? Eat that. Oh, it's so dull. I can't stand vegetables. Stop it already. Right? You learned not to like it. You can learn to like it. Here. These are called leafy greens. What I suggest you start learning to do, buy them, wash them, and eat them. Ay, no me gusta. Stop being a baby. You're an adult. Seriously, some adults are like babies. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that kind of. What are you? How old are you? No, hold off on juice because it depends on. Your juice is good, but it depends on where you get it from. Don't buy store juices. They're full of sugar. Last thing you need is store juice of any kind. I don't care what the name is. Tropicana, avoid. Tropicana is more sugar than anything else. You don't need it in your body. This you need. Those are the things you should learn to eat. There you go. I know. I never heard of kale in my life when I was growing up, or arugula. I knew cabbage. Cabbage is, what's it in Spanish? Cabbage. Repollo. Thank you very much. I knew about that. Espinaca, I hated it because it was always cooked. Never eat it cooked. Spinach that's cooked will cause kidney stones in our kidneys over time. And it tastes nasty anyway. Spinach is meant to be eaten raw, uncooked. Wash it, make it a salad, eat it as is. But if you're prone to kidney stones, do not eat it. I cannot eat spinach anymore. Because I had 2 events of kidney stones, and I haven't touched spinach ever since. Raw or cooked. Cooked is even worse. But I cannot touch spinach because of that. But if you're not prone to kidney stones, enjoy. The rest of this stuff, I knew about lettuce, lechuga, of course. But watercress, I never heard that when I was growing up. Swiss chard, never heard of it. Beet greens, I know beet is remolacha, right? Remolacha, beets. I'm talking about the greens of the beets. The green stalks on the beet. Yeah, the green stuff, the leafy stuff. That's what you need to eat. And collard greens, that's African American food, isn't it? Soul food, collard greens. I never ate that in my life when I was a kid. And yet, all this stuff gives you a reserve of power against stress because they're rich in vitamin B and potassium, which are the anti-stress vitamins. You got this? You can have us all. The slides are all yours. Guys ever use this? Nutritional yeast. This is so full of vitamin B1. It's unbelievable. Okay, you can put that into anything. You can put it on a salad. You can put it into a smoothie. You can put it in there, mix it all up, and just drink it. You can take a teaspoon or a tablespoon and put it straight in your mouth. It's full of vitamin B1, and that's what's going to calm you down. They even sell it in pill form these days. You can drink a pill of nutritional yeast, and it'll calm you down. It's amazing the power of this stuff that we never knew, because we never used that in my house either. We had sazon Goya. We didn't have nutritional yeast at all. Yes, dear. Anti what? Antiphospholipid, yeah. So then she can use the other stuff that I'm showing. If, instead of the greens, she can start using some of this, which will give her the vitamin B that she needs. Yeah, the nutritional yeast. Thank God you can pick this up in a supermarket these days, not just online. I order mine online because I get better prices. But in a pinch, you can get this at any supermarket. And it's it's cheap and it's fantastic. Yes. You can put it on salad. You can put it in a smoothie. Mix it up. You can take a spoonful and just eat it straight. Yeah, it tastes like cheese. Cheese-ish, cheesy taste. A grainy, nutty. I love it. I put it into all my smoothies, into all my salads. No. It's just fantastic. See, look, salt-free. Sugar-free, salt-free, and it really tastes good. So after class, go pick one up. Give it a try. I think you'll like it. Okay, so it calms you down, believe it or not. It helps stabilize your mood, keeps your nervous system healthy. It boosts your memory and your concentration. All that from a jar of stuff that you never heard of. I know I never did. Never. Here it is. Get one. Enjoy. It's found in nuts, seeds, fish, and yeast extract. You know, the vitamin B1. This vitamin B is found here. But the best source, as far as I'm concerned, is in the nutritional yeast. You will enjoy it. Or if you don't enjoy it, train yourself. Teach your tongue to like these things. Yes, dear. Ah, nice. Yes. On eggs. Are you happy with you? There you go. Beautiful. That's an excellent idea. So, friends, I've given you how to turn off your sympathetic nervous system. And to close, on the slides, I gave you 2 recipes that you can use to make some food using nutritional yeast over here. Look how simple this stuff is. Mira. 1 head cauliflower. Cut it into florets. 1 tablespoon olive oil, 1 teaspoon sea salt, and then put the nutritional yeast, and then do all this, and it comes out delicious and healthy for you. And those of you who like Mexican food, here's a recipe for tortillas that have very little carbs and are good for you. You can use that with your salads or with your hamburgers if you want. So after class, I'll send you the link. The slides are yours, and you can enjoy all this food and so much more. I have hundreds of recipes to give you. Hundreds of everything that tastes good and is good for you and can keep the parasympathetic off switch working for you so you can be calm. Any questions, friends? Did you enjoy this? It's great information. I thank you. Thank you for letting me share it with you. Exactly there right now. Any questions, concerns, thoughts? Anybody? Because if not, supermarket. As you go home, go over to Fine Fare, pick up some nutritional yeast, and enjoy. It's there. It costs like $8, $9. It's not expensive at all, and it helps you a lot. Let's all stand. Thank you for your time. Those watching online, welcome to our online streaming class. Thank you for listening. Also for you, go get yourself some nutritional yeast. Go buy some leafy greens, and forget about the I don't like it. Stop being a baby. Stop learning to eat new things. Grow up, mature. Give yourself good health by the grace of God. Love you. Thank you for allowing me to serve you. Amen. Thank you all. Father, bless my brothers and sisters. Take us with your blessing and protection. And thank you that our health is getting better every day. In Jesus' name, the church said amen. Amen. Thank you so much, and thanks for everything.